We've heard the experts, Dr. Lester Grinspoon, Dr. Andrew Weil, and Terence McKenna, discuss some of the potentially beneficial effects of cannabis use. But they also mention that many cannabis users don't get any beneficial effects from it, and that to use it beneficially may require some education and an effort to learn to use it in a healthy way. Well, these days there aren't too many people providing that kind of education, so I feel called to have a little go at it. I realise this might be controversial or even dangerous right here in the middle of this modern war on drugs, so here's my disclaimer. My addressing this issue is not intended to advocate or encourage illegal drug use. However, I am concerned about the modern effects of illegal drug use and sincerely believe that the many people who have already chosen to use cannabis will benefit from considering the following. Like most drugs in common usage, cannabis may potentially have both positive and negative effects for each of us. To use it beneficially will most likely require some maturity and a bit of good old-fashioned discipline. To children and adolescents, your brain is in a sensitive and rapidly developing stage, and your drug-free development just makes the most sense for your optimal physical and mental health. I realise, however, that such wisdom won't necessarily stop your natural curiosity. So let me add, if some of you older teenagers just must experiment, then experiment sparingly and caringly, taking note of the rest of these points. To those with emotional instability, schizophrenia, or a tendency towards drug-induced psychosis, be strong enough to realise that cannabis is not your saviour. Don't hide, confide, and seek the help you need. To all well-adjusted adults, your greatest risk by using cannabis relates to its prohibition. As mentioned in the documentary, in the USA in 2006, a cannabis user was arrested every 38 seconds, and prohibition now affects nearly every country. It is not wise to mix cannabis use with driving or operating dangerous machinery. A stone driver may be content to drive slowly, but he may also be content to react slowly. Less is more. Less frequency of usage is of more benefit, say once a week or once a month. Let cannabis be an occasional ally on your path, not a constant crutch. While not physically addictive, cannabis can be psychologically addictive, with possible long-term results of decreased energy, poor memory, a foggy mind, and a tendency towards paranoia. Fortunately for these addicts, these adverse symptoms leave the body when the cannabis leaves the body after about 3 weeks of being drug-free. However, kids take note. Some modern research has indicated that more long-lasting adverse symptoms may result from children or young teenagers using cannabis heavily. As already mentioned, beware of hydro. It may be quite different from traditional organic cannabis. Cannabis is like a jealous lover. She doesn't like to have to share you with others. So best not to mix cannabis with other drugs like alcohol, which deadens the beneficial effects and can exacerbate the negative effects, or like tobacco, that increases health risks. Be aware here, we find ourselves in a culture that is literally swimming in mindless, dependent and profit-driven drug use, from heroin to Prozac, aspirin to tetracycline, coffee to coke to cocaine, skunk to homemade party drugs. Natural health practitioners are often not supported. Natural plant medicines are often banned or patented. Beneficial natural drug use is not widely understood. It's up to us to get informed and to respond accordingly. Now, if you've chosen to journey with cannabis, you can eat it, inhale its vapor, or smoke it. Eating it or using a vaporizer is obviously easier on your lungs. Choose a safe, relaxed setting after working hours with food and water readily available, and be alone or in the company of close friends. Set a positive intention. This may be as simple as intending to unwind or let go of worldly worries and tune into a beautiful natural environment, or to see a particular situation from a higher perspective, or to dance, paint, or play some music, or to share the bliss of a heightened state of lovemaking. Be open to new ideas and inspirations. Be a soul in wonder as you contemplate the miracle of life and the mysteries of the universe. Should they arise, have a willingness to face old problems and grievances. Be willing to surrender to these uncomfortable feelings, to cry those precious tears of release, to let go. Allow your ego to die and dive freely and fearlessly into your inner universe. If fear or paranoia arise, this is not inherently a problem, but an opportunity to see things in your deep psyche that need healing. This in itself is part of the healing process. Remember that fear is the master challenge of our experience here in the world, that ultimately there is nothing to fear but fear itself. Extreme paranoia may be an indication that you're one of the few people with a faulty COMT gene and/or a tendency towards schizophrenia, in which case a relationship with cannabis is probably not for you. At all times, be a keen observer of your experience and let it lead you to expanded awareness of peace and oneness, love and beauty, sexuality and creativity. Also be an honest observer. Notice the signals that tell you when it's time to set this plant teacher aside and maintain an expanded awareness in a clear, natural mind. For after all, a healthy mind already has a good amount of our own cannabis within it. The endocannabinoids made in our brains, and for our balanced well-being.